That's the flea. The flea is, bro, what? Just happy jumping, man. All right, so first off, we have the smoke, you can see. And if we use a speed bot, for example, that's gonna make the character super fast. Super fast, bro. It's boom, that's a world farm. You jump and currently still in the world farm. So more hits we do, we kind of distance a little bit. And howl. Hey guys, Mr. J here. Welcome to another Frostborn video. So we have a new class here, which is the Werewolf. So the Werewolf is a extraordinary class with a lot of abilities. You can see here 6 whole ability only for this class. Also, this class is a PvP specialist, so it's gonna be really good mostly for PvP. So for each of the ability here, you can see that the Werewolf has a sleep grenade. It also has a howl. It has the Werewolf farm. It has the human farm, and it has Bloodthirst and Bloodbath. So for the first, it requires you to be in the human farm. So in the human farm, you're able to create a cloud of smoke that plunges enemies into sleep for 4 seconds. Flash damage over time will not wake them up. So while the enemies are sleeping, they will not be waking up by doing damage. So for the other skill, which is the howl, so this requires the werewolf farm. So in this farm, you're able to reduce enemies damage by 25% and movement speed by 50% for 4 seconds, and this is within 4 unit. So this is pretty good as well. So for the werewolf farm, it requires you to be in the human farm. So once you're in the human farm, you're able to turn into a werewolf and jump towards the target, dealing it damage and also stunned in it for 1 second. The attack ignores 50% of the target's armor, which is pretty huge. And also upon the jump, the werewolf farm is activated for 5 seconds. So with each attack as well in the farm, it increases your duration by 1 second when you're in the farm. So every time you attack, you stay within the werewolf farm until you stop attacking. You go back regular farm, which is the human farm, of course. The werewolf farm increases your health by 150 points. You can still attack enemies and cast spells in this farm, but cannot consume food or potions or use gadgets and other items as well. Damage you deal in the werewolf farm depends on the flask equipped, but it will not deal damage over time. The other farm here is the human farm. So to go into the human farm, it requires the werewolf farm. So once you're in the werewolf farm, you can go into the human farm. You'll jump into the chosen direction, and then you'll turn into a human. And you'd also stay invisible after changing your farm for 2.5 seconds. And also you should know as well that all stack bloodbath effect disappears. So this also can be used while you're stunned. So if you're in a PvP and you're in the werewolf farm and you're also stunned, you can choose the direction. So what that does as well, it dispels you from the werewolf farm into the human farm. And not only that, you go invisible, so you're able to kind of either try to escape or run away, in a split second. So that's in split 2 seconds. So that's pretty good. And the spell type is a trick. So you go from a werewolf back to the human. Whether you're stunned or whatnot, you could just quickly run away, the speed pot, and heal as well. That's a pretty good skill. Other skill that we have here is Bloodthirst. So for the Bloodthirst, it requires you to be in the human farm. So each attack casts Bloodthirst on the werewolf and increases their attack speed and movement speed by 5 seconds. The effect can be stacked up to 5 times. So you have a flame that stacks up to 5 times, and then you're able to increase your attack speed and movement speed, and it keeps increasing. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, right? You keep stacking the damage or the flame. It increases your movement speed and your attack speed. So that is a pretty good effect. And this is when you're in the human farm. So you can see this class is actually an arsenal when it comes down to PvP. So the Bloodthirst and the Bloodbath, it's kind of similar here. So for example, when you're in the human farm, you'll do a bunch of damage, right? Stack 5 power and were 5 buffs, and these 5 buff increases, you know, attack speed and movement speed. And then once you're in the werewolf farm, then it does the similar effect, but it's called bloodbath, to where it stacks the effect, right, and then increases your attack and damage resistance. So in the werewolf farm, you'll be able to resist a lot of damage, but your attack will go up, so you'll be doing a bunch of damage in regards to attacks that you do, and also you'll be reducing the amount of hits that you get. So that's pretty good. You know, this works as a buff, and most of these things here we did predict. So another equipment that you can get from the werewolf, which this will be in the side quest event, which is going to be the frail world. So that's going to be a side quest event. So for the side quest event, we're able to get the wolf flask. Not sure as yet how we'll get it in the side quest event, but you can see here for the werewolf flask, you deal 15% more damage if the target health is less than 50%. So that's pretty good. Additional effect that you get here, when you're in the werewolf farm, you can cast a howl in the werewolf farm, and they summon wolves that attack the enemies without command for 5 seconds. So you're not able to control the wolves. They automatically just, you know, do damage and stuff. So each wolves have 200 health and deal 20% damage. You only are able to, you know, summon the wolves when you have this flask equipped. So that's pretty nice. Another thing here we have for the werewolf is the flea. Let me go ahead and open the flea and show you guys the flea right here. Alright, so for the flea, you can see that it reduces the enemy's healing efficiency by 3% for 2 seconds here. So that's pretty good. And of course, you know, you have other perks here like long throw, so flask range increased by 15%. And we have as well the alpha, which bonus health in wolf farm give you 50% more points, which is quite nice. So you can see here, right here, we have the pest, which is the control effect, resistance by 10%. So that's pretty good as well. I think that's being able to resist control effect. So that's gonna be pretty good. So let's go ahead and equip, and let's see how that looks. So the eye. Oh, let me click the eye right here. So you can see that's the flea. The flea is, bro, what? It's like a jumping bee. That's pretty good. That's kind of cool. That looks that looks kind of funny, to be honest. It's pretty nice. All right, so we have the little flea there. Easy. Just happy jumping, man. All right, so let's go ahead and try the werewolf farm here. I'm gonna go in a crowd of mobs here. So yeah, preferably right here. We'll go right here. All right, so first off, we have the smoke. You know, you can see everything gets sleep there. When you do damage, it doesn't wake them up while you're doing damage and stuff. I'll show you guys that again. When we go in the werewolf farm, you can see I also stack 5 hits. Boom, that's a werewolf farm. You jump, and currently still in the werewolf farm. So more hits we do, we're able to gain an extra 1 second in the werewolf farm. So let's go ahead and use the sleep again. Show you guys. Boom. So I'm doing hits. I can't show you. I think I gotta do it with a giant to show you guys that I'm actually able to do hits, and the giants are not gonna wake up once I'm in the farm. I'll probably have to show you with the giant here once I'm in the farm right here. So, you know, well, that kind of killed the giant right there. Let me go ahead and group these up right here. See a little bit as well. All right, so there's a giant, right? We're gonna use that giant as a test subject. So let's bring him all the way over here. All right, let's do a bunch of damage to these here. Stack it 5 times. You can see the fire icon is currently just stacking. You can see as well we jumped and I'll show you guys the wolves. I'm howling. Go back in the human farm. Boom. Alright, you can currently see it did not wake up. So let me show you guys here. Boom. Let me change the flask. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and throw the sleeping thing up. So yeah, we can definitely do a couple of hits here. Alright, so with this, we're gonna do this. Boom. You can see. Boom. And you can see as well, stacking damage as well. It's increasing our movement speed as we stated before. So you can see that we're quite faster here. So this is going to be very helpful in PvPs as well. You can see that. And if we use a speed pot, for example, that's going to make the character super fast. Super fast, bro. So that's pretty good here, right? It's going to be a close range class, but also being able to, you know, kind of distance a little bit. And howl. So that howl, because we don't have, let me show you that howl as well. That howl is basically gonna slow the enemies within that range once you don't have this here, right? If you have the flask here, it will just summon wolves, but if you don't have this flask in particular, because this is the werewolf flask, if you don't have this flask, then any other basic flask, right, you're able to then slow enemies within the howl range. So that's the point of the howl. Let me go ahead and go in a farm here. I think I can just boom. And so within that range, right? That range, I think I probably should go to the tomb. I'm gonna go to the tomb and show you guys. With that range, it just slows the enemies down, right? Alright, so you can see here. And you can see there, he was slowed. And he barely does, he does like 4 damage. Dodge, you can currently see now 6 damage. It goes back up to 6. So yeah, that's an example of how the howl would be used. So you can see that this is a really good class for PvP. It's really thought out about. I think I'm gonna go into Werewolf Farm, and then I want to show you guys how I evade and stuff. So for example, we're in the Werewolf Farm, and if we want to turn back to a human, you can see that we're invisible as well. So only for, you know, 2.5 seconds, which is pretty short, right? But I think it works, right? It's pretty cool. And let's go ahead and stack hits here. Let me avoid that. And let's stack hits. Boom, boom. You can see there. And let's go to the human farm. And we could just use speed pod at the same time. So yeah, you have a bunch of different ideas of how to use this class here. Of course, we're gonna, you know, find some tricks or the best way to use different stuff of the class to make it really a menace when it comes down to PvP. But bro, this flea is just like happy right behind me and stuff. But yeah, let me know what you think about this wolf class. Hopefully I did touch on everything here when it comes down to the wolf. I think I did touch on everything here, but let me know if I did. If I did not, I think I'll probably make another video, probably a PvP video when it comes on to the werewolf, see how it works against other class. Not quite sure if I'll have the time to do so, but we'll see what happens. And appreciate y'all for watching, appreciate y'all for the continual support, the likes, and